Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Wilkinson, Manager of Communications and Media, Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency. Today, the SPSA will provide a technical overview of the wildfires in the province. Joining us online to provide updates today are the SPSA's President and Fire Commissioner, Marlo Pritchard, and the SPSA's Vice-President of Operations, Steve Roberts. We do have a hard stop at 2 p.m. today, so ask members of the media to ask one question. If we have time remaining in the meeting, we will go to follow-ups, but we do have a hard stop at 2 p.m. With that, I will turn it over to Steve to provide an overview of our fires of note. Steve?
Good afternoon. So today in Saskatchewan, we have 17 active fires, 262 fires so far this season. Normal for this time of year would be 157. So with the moderating weather, we have made good progress on the fires of note, the large ones that are currently active. As mentioned 2 days ago, 2 of them are now listed as contained. The rest continue to work towards containment. We continue to do those efforts on the ground to secure those areas, including those communities that have not yet returned from their evacuation, to secure them for an early return. We will continue to use resources, including our external partners, South Dakota, Colorado, the U.S. Forest Service, Washington State, and Arizona, and augmenting those with our local Type 3 crews and our own ministry and First Nation crews to keep working on these fires to get them closer to full containment. The other aspect is none of the 4 significant fires have grown in any shape or form or have posed any new risks or threats because of those efforts. 5 communities still have active evacuations: Cumberland House, P1 and 2s, East Trout Lake, Denier Beach, Creighton, and Wayland Bay. Our staff are working with community leaders to pass on information on when the situation has been moderated to aid them in making decisions about repatriation. And I'll turn it over to you, Marlo.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to take or continue on where Steve left off, and it's regarding the evacuees and financial supports. Our priority remains to ensure that the final financial supports that are eligible, or to those eligible, still remains our top priority of SPSA. So we are continuing to either send retroactive food security support, such as payment for groceries, to those that have registered with SPSA. Eligible residents must call the 1-855 line to either confirm registration or to get assistance in registering, so that we can get those retroactive payments out, which could be up to $200 per household per day. The SPSA has identified all eligible communities whose residents will receive $500 in emergency funding that was announced by the government of Saskatchewan. Some of those communities have indicated that they will administer payments themselves, and other communities are requesting assistance for us. Those eligible must be 18 years or older as of June 20th, 25, and will be asked to provide their name, email, and address to confirm that they are from an impacted community. I can announce that as of today, there has been approximately $1.8 million moved to communities to start distributing to their community members for that $500. I also want to take a moment to speak to the comments that were raised this morning by the opposition regarding the air fleet. As we have indicated several times, the SPSA uses a combination of land-based and amphibious wildfire tankers to deliver air services to combat wildfires. This includes 4 Convair 580 land-based air tankers, 6 CL-215 turbine-powered water scooper air tankers, 7 smaller Bird Dog aircrafts that guide tankers and direct other air traffic over a wildfire. The air fleet is a major investment by the government, and it is our job to utilize the fleet and call in the aircraft from other jurisdictions when needed to help address wildfire situations. This is not a secret issue. From time to time, any of our aircraft will have mechanical issues that may ground them for a short period of time, from hours to days, and unfortunately, sometimes longer. This is a normal part of operating any air fleet. And we do have 4 planes in the maintenance cycle. We were well aware of these challenges, and that is why we brought on extra aircraft from other jurisdictions early in the season. As a reminder, we brought in 2 from Quebec, 2 from Alaska, 5 from BC, which increased our capacity to above our fleet strength. Please also know that our staff are putting in extraordinary effort to ensure our aircraft are available as quickly as possible. With the unprecedented wildfire season, it is normal for aircraft to undergo additional maintenance required for safety and to follow federal regulations. As part of the federal regulations, mandatory inspections came due for 2 of our 215 tankers due to the large amount of flying required to fight wildfires. They were unavailable for a period of time early in the fire season. One was taken offline for a period of time, and another one was taken off after that one was ready to go. Again, our staff endeavored to keep them operational, working throughout the day and night to ensure that they were quickly put back online. I'll also talk quickly about the values lost. After assessing East Trout Lake, Denair Beach, and a number of other communities, the number of values lost has exceeded our estimate. We can give you a breakdown of the structures lost. So far, we have confirmed or verified 277 primary residents, 60 cabins, and 115 RVs. As our verification teams went through these locations, we have, of course, identified other values on those properties, such as ATVs, snowmobiles, garages, sheds. But our early estimate of values lost being around 500 is probably pretty close to both primary residents and RVs. And we know that this is a devastating loss for many of the families and the communities that have been affected. We anticipate, as verification continues, that we may see those numbers change, although I do not anticipate that to be a significant number. And I know this is a challenging time for many that are still out, especially at Denair Beach. I do want to let everyone know that I sympathize and I feel for your pain and your loss, and we are working together with your community leaders to help rebuild or the next steps toward rebuilding. But I also want to remind people that are currently been impacted by this wildfire season that there are a variety of mental health supports available. And I would really encourage you to either call 811 or your medical health provider. I've also just learned that there was a statement by the NDP in regards to a parking lot video shoot. I just want to clarify. The advisory that we sent out had nothing to do with members of the Saskatchewan NDP taking video outside the operation base. This was a separate incident that occurred where a group of individuals were trying to get into a restricted area. And we just want to remind members that this is an active location where we move planes around and we do not want to see anybody get injured. So it's really about the safety of everyone else, but it had absolutely nothing to do with the video. With that, I will turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Marlo. So now we will open it up to questions. A reminder, just one question, and please provide your media outlet. So first up, we have Aishwarya.
Hi, I'm with CBC News. My name is Aishwarya. I just wanted to ask, 4 are grounded, 1 can't fly because there isn't a pilot who's qualified to do so. Just to clarify, half your fleet grounded during an intense fire season, you say it's normal. Are you saying that having those 5 planes working available for fighting would not have helped?
No, what I'm saying is we have regulatory requirements to ensure that there's safety of planes. So we have to follow federal regulations. The Q400, that was brought in as a government purchase, and there is training requirements, again, with federal regulations. But what we did do is we counted on our compacts, which we have talked about many times about the partnership that we have across North America, in all fairness. And when we realized that we were facing a significant wildfire situation, we absolutely brought in the air assets to bring us up to and above our regular fleet strength. So that's what it was about.
Thanks, Marlo. Up next, Jeremy.
Sorry about that. Yeah, just a follow-up to that. Jeremy Symes with the Canadian Press. Do you feel that you had everything you needed without these 4 planes?
Thanks for the question, Jeremy. Yes, that is why we brought on compacts. We faced an unprecedented season with a extreme wildfire behavior, and we utilized our planes as well as our other assets. As we know, we have to follow federal regulations, and so I would say that yes. But of course, when we do a full review, we will see where we could do improvements. But there is no way of fast tracking safety when we're talking about airplanes. There is a requirement to ensure that the work is done. We do know that a couple of these planes are being inspected for structural because they do a lot of lifting of water and dropping of water. So that does cause flexing in the wings and the wing spars. So the requirement from the manufacturer and supported by federal regulations is that they need to be inspected. And that is a substantive amount of work. We are looking for and continue to look for potential external contractors that will come in and do that at a quicker pace, but we have not been successful to date. So we will continue to work toward meeting regulations.
Thanks, Marlo. Up next, Derek.
Derek here with L'Orange Now. I'm wondering if there's any other details you can release in regard to the trespassing that occurred at the tanker base. I know a lot of people in this community are going to be interested in what actually occurred there.
Thanks for the question, Derek. What I can say is that on the 16th in the evening around 4:30, 5 o'clock, a group of individuals were seen coming toward and attempted to walk through a gate into the secure area. Our staff stopped them, closed the gate, and as I understand, they left. So it's just an advisory for individuals to be aware for their safety and ours that there's a reason why there's gates and fences there to ensure that individuals do not come into a secure area where they could potentially get injured.
Up next, Susan.
Hi, my question is regarding the evacuation process, and I'm wondering if the province of Saskatchewan or the SPSA has like a strategy or something in place to deal with like large-scale evacuations involving multiple communities. From what I've seen in Manitoba, they have, for instance, a deal directly with the Red Cross, and they handle things in much more streamlined fashion. So I'm just kind of wondering what Saskatchewan has in place, say for a town or a northern town, plus maybe a First Nations community, and how you kind of gather all that information in one place.
Thank you for the question. The evacuation process is led by the community. They have the ability to come to SPSA for assistance or the Red Cross. So or a third party. I mean, there are other communities that could potentially do it themselves or have done it themselves. So there's a number of different opportunities. We do work with the Red Cross in regards to sharing data, in regards to ensuring that we know where community members go. But it really does come down to that community. And then we have a team of highly trained individuals that are dedicated to doing the evacuation support. So those individuals that need, a shelter, we have hotels throughout the province. Those hotels are staffed by men and women that have gone through some training with SPSA, and they are from across government, every different ministries and crowns. And we ensure that their needs, whether it's food, cultural sensitivity, mental health support, are met for those that are in a hotel setting. And then they're transported back to their home community when it is safe to do repatriation, and that is arranged by SPSA. And in regards to self-evacuations, that is where we triage, base it on a urgent need. And if individuals are safe, we focus on the ones that need food security, getting either food vouchers or dollars, financial support. And then, as I spoke to earlier, we continue to ensure that those are eligible, those self-evacuated, they're eligible for financial support. We'll be getting it. There's checks going out as we speak, and we'll continue until we hit or meet every one of those individuals that are eligible. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Marlo. Aiden?
Aiden Jager, Saskatoon Star Phoenix. Why did the SPSA keep the public in the dark about the new water bomber being grounded as alleged by the NDP, and what is your response to their claim that this may have worsened the wildfire crisis for Saskatchewan families?
Okay, can you go through that question again? First of all, there was no secrecy here, but can you repeat the question, please?
So why did the SPSA party keep the public in the dark about the new water bomber being grounded as alleged by the NDP, and what is your response to their claim that this may have worsened
I'll go back to what I just answered earlier. One, it's not secret. We took possession of the new Q400 AT during the wildfire. We were not going to be pulling pilots off of critical missions that were out. They were assigned to other planes. We were not going to pull them off for training. We needed to keep them flying, and it was not secret. We will continue to work toward a training cycle to get that plane into our operations as soon as possible and as soon as safe to do so. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we reached into our compacts from across North America and brought in other air assets to replace the ones that were not flying. Again, two from two from Quebec, two from Alaska, and 5 from BC, which actually went over our authorized strength to help us combat the wildfires that we were seeing over the past month.
Thanks, Marlo. Up next, Chris.
Hi, Chris Edwards from CBC Saskatchewan. Just talking about those 4 tankers that are currently grounded, is there a timeline for when one or any of them will be back to being fully operational?
I can comment on one. We anticipate that one will be back online by the end of June, and I do not have the timelines for the other ones. There are a couple, the ones that are structural in nature, the maintenance around that. They could be out for the season, at least one of them, because those are substantive and very complex requirements to do those inspections. So I do not have a time frame for those.
Okay, just to clarify then, so the one that will be available, that is one of the, just want to make sure I read these right, like the C1215Ts?
No, to clarify, the next aircraft that will be
The
coming
CF.
online is actually a CV580 retardant hauling aircraft.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks, Steve. I was just going to ask you to jump in.
Okay. Thanks, Marlo and Steve. We have Jeremy up next.
Hi there. Just with 5 communities still under evacuation, can you provide just a number of people this encompasses? I'm just looking for the number of people associated with these 5 communities.
last number that I was given is an approximately about 172 that is being supported by SPSA. There may be others that are supported by the Canadian Red Cross. And of course, we don't know how many individuals could be have self-evacuated and have not repatriated themselves.
Up next, Stacy. Stacy, you might be on mute. You can also type your question in the chat. Okay, we will move to Jason.
Hey, Jason Kerr from the Prince Albert Daily Herald. Thank you very much for taking our questions. Just I wanted to follow up on the communities that are still under evacuation. Can you guys just explain specifically what developments you would need to see in the next couple of days or weeks for those people to return home? Obviously, the fires would need to decrease in intensity, but can you just be more specific about what you guys would need to see?
Steve, you want to take that one?
Sure, I can answer that. It isn't unique to each community. So as an example, Wayland Bay, one of the barriers for that is there are a number of trees that have crossed the access road into that community. So that's one thing that will have to be cleared up before they can repatriate. The other ones are, do they have their power back on? Do they have their communications back on? And we've already addressed in most of those cases already fire security. And because of the weather, we're not seeing a whole bunch of smoke issues either. So it's more about the infrastructure. And then as you get to a bigger community like Danair Beach or Creighton, then infrastructure like the hospitals and the community support folks and town water and town sewer become more critical factors than you would see, for instance, in a small community where everybody's on their own well system. And really, as long as the power's on, they could probably go back home. So we're working on that community by community. Likely you'll see the smaller communities able to go back sooner because there's less effort that will take to get them ready to go back.
Thanks, Steve. Susan?
Oh, you kind of were just touching on my final question, and that was like, I've heard that in Danair Beach specifically, a significant number of homes were lost there. So if you have any numbers for that community, that would be great. And also, were any public buildings or civic buildings that are really necessary to the community's function lost?
Thanks for the question. I'm just looking at the number. I was just in contact, and we have been in contact with the administrators of Danair Beach. We have confirmed that there has been 218 what we're classifying as primary residents in that community that has been either damaged or destroyed. And they're currently still working on SaskTel infrastructure. That was as of this morning. And I am not aware of any other critical infrastructure, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't or has not been impacted. We will be, and that's the government of Saskatchewan, SPSA, and many other ministries will be working in conjunction with that community as we move into a recovery phase. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marlo. I see we have a question in the chat from Stacy Hine with CTV News. She asked, last we heard there are about 30 people being investigated for arson. Just wondering if that number has changed and if you have any updates you can share on those investigations.
Thanks for that, the question. First of all, it's not 30 people. There's 30 incidents that are being investigated as intentional starts or arson investigations. There have been charges laid in at least 2 of those incidents by the RCMP, and I'm not aware of any other charges as of this time.
Thanks, Marlo. I'll do a final call out for questions. Okay, and with that, this will conclude today's media availability. Have a safe rest of your day, everyone.